Hello everyone, and welcome to another episode in the Iron Mining and Refining series. Today I wanted to address two obstacles that may be of concern for me or anyone else who is thinking of doing the same process that I am. The first obstacle is, well, what if you don't live in an area where iron is that abundant in the rocks or soil? I'm not familiar with the geology of this area. I'm quite a bit further south than I normally am, and at least as far as I can tell, it doesn't seem like there's much iron to be found here. Might be some, but not in any concentration that I can reasonably expect to refine. The second obstacle is that the process I will be using, which is the bloomery process, is one that requires very specific skills as well as many different processes that all need to be performed correctly. To assume that I would get them all correct and produce a usable quality steel on the first try is a very bad assumption. In fact, given the difficulty of the process, it's not just the first, but also the second and likely third, fourth, fifth tries that are likely to result in failure. Now, eventually, chances are you'll get the hang of it. But considering how much labor is involved in each attempt, it'll be demoralizing and might result in someone abandoning the project. Luckily, there's an easy solution to both of these issues, and I'm standing right next to it. This is an example of scrap iron. Highly concentrated, unfortunately highly abundant, and as you can see, it would be a very good thing to remove and repurpose this. One of the other advantages of scrap iron like this is that it can be used to individually practice the skills needed to produce steel. If it's not rusted, you could use it to just forge weld together and practice that aspect of steel making. If it is rusted, well, you can feed it into a bloomery furnace. The rust is iron oxide, and the bloomery furnace is designed to reduce oxides into metal, so it should just turn into iron metal. And if that doesn't work, you could always just remove the rust. There are many ways to do that, both chemically and physically. There are, however, a couple notable downsides. The first of which being, while this is relatively, unfortunately, abundant, it is a finite resource. I can't exactly just dig down and expect to find more. Once you've used up what you found, you have to go somewhere else to see if you can't find more. The second is being bound up in rocks is actually an advantage for the bloomery process. You actually might have to add things to iron like this in order for it to come out in a usable form in the bloomery process. And the third and most important disadvantage is that this is actually a reasonably severe health hazard. Not that using it would be a health hazard, not actually in the process, but I specifically chose this piece of scrap for a reason, as it has multiple jagged pointy bits, and if you actually look down, it continues and would potentially catch you, cause you to trip and fall face first into this, which would be a very bad time. Not only because it would result in multiple potentially severe puncture wounds, but I hope I'm not the first person to tell you this, rusted iron like this is often a carrier for tetanus. All things considered, however, the danger is significantly less if you are actively engaged in removing this, so you would be wearing heavy gloves, and you're, of course, aware that this can hurt you, and so you're taking the necessary precautions. In fact, in that way, it's even more of a public health hazard to leave it here, as someone who is just walking in the woods, not paying attention, could stumble into this and get hurt. Well, that's all for now. I hope you enjoyed, and I hope you stay tuned for more. See ya.